cute little prince. It's Buddha. Though right now he's still called Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha lives in a palace in India. His parents believe that this little guy will become something extraordinary. To know this for sure, they ask an astrologer to consult the stars about the future. He will either become a very powerful ruler like his father, or he becomes a holy man and your family will lose all power in the kingdom. Oh my! Don't worry, as long as you keep him away from sickness, aging, poverty, and death, it will be all right. They decide to protect the prince from all such experiences. Siddhartha grows up, gets married, and has kids without having met ordinary people outside the palace. But one day, Siddhartha drives his cart outside the palace area. There he witnesses how ordinary people live. He sees an old man, a sick man, and a beggar monk in the street. He also drives by a dead man. What? People get sick and are poor and die? Life is just endless suffering. Siddhartha doesn't want to suffer, and he doesn't want anyone else to do so either. This must be solved. He leaves his wife and child and goes away. Siddhartha asks a lot of wise men for advice on how to live, but doesn't get any good answers. So he decides to try not eating. He will starve himself like a beggar monk, an ascetic. Look how thin he has become. This clearly doesn't work. It won't make one happier. No, Siddhartha realizes this. He gives up the idea of starving himself and sits down beneath a Bodhi tree to meditate. Here he decides to stay until he's found the solution. Nothing will make him move. An evil demon called Mara appears to tempt him. Mara offers him lots of great things, but Siddhartha just stays put. And finally, after having meditated for 49 days, Siddhartha realizes what's wrong. Humans are never satisfied. They always want more. And this wanting to have more never ends. And then the suffering never ends either. So now Siddhartha has realized how it is. He has become enlightened. And that is what the word Buddha means. Now he is no longer Siddhartha Gautama, but Buddha. Buddha wants more people to realize this. Some of his friends listen to him and start to follow him. They become his disciples. Buddha preaches to them and to other people. At this time in India, everyone is Hindu. The Hindus believe in rebirth, reincarnation. You are born, live, die, are born, live, die, and so on, in an endless cycle, samsara. Stop! I want to get off! Buddha preaches the importance of getting free from samsara. Getting reborn makes it impossible to avoid suffering. Buddha had tried both being rich and starving. These are two exaggerated ways of living, and neither are good. He believes it to be better to choose a middle way. But hey, Buddha, if you're not born again, where do you end up after death? You don't get to a place, but to a condition where you don't want anything. Nirvana. Why do you call it nirvana? Nirvana means blown out. All your desires are blown out, and you have reached a kind of peace. Buddha wanders around preaching how to reach nirvana. When Buddha dies, there have become many disciples. Now it's time for them to pass on his teachings.
Good morning students. Today we are going to see about 7th standard social science, term 3, history, unit 3, Jainism, Buddhism and Ajviha philosophy in Tamil Nadu. So, we see about Buddhism. So, Buddha thought not the glory of God but the power of love. He held the view that all men are born to an equality of rights. He undertook long journeys and carried his message far and wide. Buddha preached his teachings in Prakriti. His four noble truths are follows. Life includes pain, getting old, disease, and ultimately death. Suffering is caused by craving and aversion. Suffering can be overcome and happiness attained. True happiness and contentment are possible if one purposes the Eightfold Path. The next topic, Buddhist literature. Buddha's teachings for a long time were transmitted through the memory of teachers and disciples. They were reduced to writing by 80 BC and were written in the Pali language. The Pali Canon Tripitaka has three divisions, also known as the threefold basket. They include Vinaya Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, and Abhidhamma Pitaka. So first let's see about Vinaya Pitaka. Contains the rules of the order of Buddhist monks, which must be observed for achieving purity of conduct. The next one, Sutta Pitaka, lays down the principles of religion by citing discourage as evidence. Abhidhamma Pitaka is the latest of the Tripitaka. It deals with ethics, philosophy, and metaphysics. Other prominent canonical literary works in Buddhism include Jatakas, various stories of the lives of the Buddha found in Buddhist literature. Buddha Vamsa, a legend in verse containing a narration of the life and activities of the 24th Buddhas who are believed to have praised Gautama. Apart from the above canonical literature, there is a long series of non-canonical literature in Pali. They include Milinda Panha, which means questions of Milinda. It contains a dialogue between Milinda, the Crazio-Bactrian king, and the monk Nagasena over some problems that faced Buddhism. It was originally written in Sanskrit. The two famous Ceylonese chronological are Mahavamsa and Devavamsa. The former deals with the royal dynasties of the Indian subcontinent, including Sri Lanka, while the later deals with the arrival of the Buddha's teachings and preserves in Sri Lanka. Buddha Ghosa's Vishtuhyamha is a later work. He is the first Buddhist commander. Sanskrit literature became prominent in Buddhism with the rise of Mahayana Buddhism. However, some of the Sanskrit works were produced by the Hinayana school as well as Buddha Sarita, written by Ashwaghosa, is in epic style Sanskrit work. It tells the life history of Gautama Buddha. Buddhism in Tamilakam. Buddhism is believed to have spread to the Tamil country by the Ceylonese missionaries. The evidence in support of this is some monuments of the Pandya country, which are assigned to the 3rd century BC. The monuments are in caverns known as Panchapandava Malai. Buddhism seems to have flourished and coexisted peacefully with Jainism, Ashviham, and also with various sects of Hinduism. Since the time of Bhakti movement, Buddhism came to be challenged by its exponents and began to lose royal patronage. The Devaram hymns. Since the time of Bhakti movement, Buddhism came to be challenged by its exponents and began to lose royal patronage. The Devaram, hymns of Saivas Jain, and the Nalayara Divya Pramadam of Vaishnava all was provided evidence to the challenges Buddhism faced in Tamil country. When Huan the Chinese traveller, visited South India in the 7th century, Buddhism was almost on the decline. But contrary to popular perception, the Buddhism did not disappear completely. The presence of Veerasolayam, the 11th century later Chola period grammar text composed by a Buddhist, and the discovery of 30th century Buddhist bronze in Nagapattinam testify to the presence of Buddhism in later period. The sculpture of Buddha in Tyaganur village in Salem district strengthened this conclusion. Though Buddhism faced challenge from Saiva and Vaishnava sects from the Pallava period onwards, one of the exceptions was Nagapattinam. It was supported by Chola kings not for religious but for political reason. Sudamani Vihara of Nagapattinam was constructed by the Sri Vijaya king with the patronage of Rajaraja Chola. This Vihara has been since destroyed. The Tamil epic Manimehalai, written by Kulavanigan Seethalai Chattanar, is considered a typical representation of Tamil Buddhism. Chattanar indigenized Buddhism into Tamil Buddhism by communicating a large set of Buddhist terms in Tamil as translation from Sanskrit and Pali. There is a record about a Buddhist monk named Vajrabodhi who was skilled in tantric ritual, but this monk left the Pallava court for China. Mahendravarman Mattavilasa Prahasana describes Buddhism as a religion in decay. In the field of education, Buddhist sanghas and viharas served as centers of education. Students from various parts of the world came here to receive education. Nalanda, Taxila, and Vikramasila gained reputation as great educational centers. They were originally Buddhist viharas. Students from Tibet and China were influenced by Buddhism, and they took effective steps to spread Buddhism. The next one, viharas. Excavation of Buddhist vihara and a temple at Kaveri Pumpattinam and hundreds of stone and bronze sculptures by ASI from over 125 sites have proved the spread of the religion in the state. A 1.03 meter Buddha statue in Batmasana was in removed. Tiruvarur district was unearthed when digging a tank in a field. The third philosophy, Ajvika philosophy. The Ajvika believed in the doctrine of karma, transmigration of the soul, and determinism. The hand of Ajvika, sects of Kosala, Mahaliputta. The Ajvikas practiced asceticism of a serf type. The Ajvika religious order, a school of philosophy, is known from the Vedic hymns. The Brahmanas, the Aryangas, and other ancient Sanskrit compliance and treatises of the pre-Jaina and pre-Buddhist age. Kosala's ideas live on in other religions, though no Ajvika literature have survived. Kosala was closely associated with Mahavira for 6 years, and they parted company. The Mayuryan Emperor Ashoka and his grandson Dasaratha patronized the Ashvikas. After the collapse of the Mayuryan Empire, the sect declined in northern India, but had by then spread into southern India, where it continued to exist for many centuries. Throughout history, Ajviha had to face persecution everywhere. Village communities under Pallavas, Cholas, and Hosalas imposed special tax on them. Despite such obstacles, Ajviha continued to have influence along the Palar River in the modern states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Till about the 14th century, in the end, they seem to have been absorbed into Vaishnavism. Thank you, children.